if you look at the Bible basically is divided into 5.
Can I get you? The Holy Bible
Yes, exactly.
is divided into 5.
Yes. How do we know these things?
How do we know
The
it?
Holy Bible majorly talks about 3 major things. One, a king,
Okay.
which is the creator, which we call God.
Okay. Okay.
Then 2, it talks about his kingdom. Then 3, he talks about his creation. So what the Holy Bible is trying to tell us how these 3 things interwoven. How a king who owns a kingdom and had a creation that he handed over this kingdom to manage, how they mismanaged it,
Okay.
and something went wrong.
Okay.
So that's what the whole Bible is all about. So, and the whole Bible is trying to tell us a story of what happened, what is happening, and what is going to happen.
Okay.
The past, the
Wow.
present, and the future. So that is why the Holy Bible, you don't read it as if everything is happening now. If you approach it that way, you get it wrong. So some things happened, some things are still happening, and some will happen. That's the future.
Okay.
So if you are going to look at the Bible, majorly the Old Testament will always tell you what had happened during the creation process. Do not forget, I said the Bible is divided into 5 major
Yes,
sections.
I remember.
The first section of the Bible is Genesis chapter 1 and 2. That's the first section. It talks about the creation.
Okay.
It talks about when things were perfect. God created the heavens and the earth. It tells you the story. God now created man in his own image and likeness to lord over, to have dominion, kingship, rulership over the earth. Okay. And at that point in time, Genesis chapter 1 and 2, God gave instruction to his creations, the animals, their food, what they are to eat. He also gave man what is to eat.
Okay, and give it in the Bible.
Very simple. If you look at Genesis chapter 1, starting from verse 26 to 27, that's where God said, let us create man in our own image and likeness. Okay. Let them have dominion over the earth. Now, if you open to Genesis chapter 2, reading from verse 17 down, you see where God gave the instruction of man that man, every seed, every herbs bearing seed, for you shall it be for meat. That was God's instruction for man. There was nothing like eating of gari, fufu, meat, all this. No. It doesn't. No. It doesn't.
No. It's just that as day breaks, people are having more ideas. For me, I think that by then people have not been exposed to such kind of food. You see, daily we are discovering food. Are you telling us that eating of this kind, like we are eating meat, right? We are eating meat. We are eating fish.
Yes.
In Genesis chapter 1, 26 and 28, as you said, they didn't instruct Adam to eat all those things.
No, nothing. Not at all. Not at all.
Does it mean it is a sin for us to eat meat and fish that was not yet exposed to them by then?
We are going to see. That's why we are going to go through the biblical processes. Okay. So like I said, Genesis chapter 1 and 2, the creation process, when things were perfect, God gave man instruction of what to eat. God specifically told man, every herb bearing seed for you shall it be for meat. And it was so. And God said it was good. Okay. Since after Genesis chapter 2, starting from Genesis chapter 3, God has never said it was good again. Because something happened. So in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, which is the first section of the Bible, it tells you about God's creation, God's original plan for the earth, how God wanted the earth to be, how God wanted mankind to be. And in the midst of these things is what we call the first kingdom of God. What is a kingdom? A kingdom is a governing influence of a king over a territory, where it impacts it with his purpose and intent, reproducing citizens that reflect his nature and culture. That's the kingdom of God.
Yes.
So a kingdom, basically, you must have a king. He must govern over a territory. He rules this territory. It impacts it with his purpose and intent. The aim is to reproduce citizens that reflects his nature and culture. Every kingdom must have a culture. So wonderful. In Genesis chapter 1 and 2, there was a culture that existed in the earth which forms the kingdom of God. There was love, peace, meekness, humility, love. Men and animals play together. They live in unity. These things was the original kingdom of God. Was the plan of God. That was the old kingdom. That something happened that we now said the new. So in the old kingdom, which was in the Garden of Eden, there was a governing influence of God over that territory, where God himself impacted it with his purpose and intent. Then he reproduced citizens, which was the Adam and the Eve then.
Okay.
And they brought forth God's nature of love, peace, humility. And that was the kingdom of God. So the kingdom simply means a governing influence of the king over a territory where it impacts it with its purpose and intent, reproducing citizens that reflect its nature and culture. For example, Nigeria, we are being colonized by the British. We wear suits. It's not original clothes. That's not a culture of dressing.
Okay.
We drink tea. That's not a culture. We adopted it. We drive on the left-hand side. That's not it. When we are being colonized by the British, they now influence us with their own culture. It wasn't our culture. So that is how a kingdom is. There must be a king. The headquarters there was England, but they sent a representative like a governor to come over here. And yes, Nigeria,
Okay, Nigeria.
and lord over us. They impacted us with our culture. We speak English. English is not an original language, but today English is English is being adopted as a first language. But originally, it's not a language. So what a kingdom does is that when they get to a territory, they conquer that territory. They begin to influence them. They begin to make them be the way they were. So in the Garden of Eden, God had a kingdom where He wanted to replicate heaven on earth. The culture of heaven was brought down to earth, which is love, peace, meekness, humility. These things were what transpired in heaven. So God